leader in motorsports coverage, presents Speed World. It is a beautiful late summer afternoon at Norwalk Raceway Park in Norwalk, Ohio, site of the International Hot Rod Association Loctite Tostiasti Spumani World Nationals. We have a capacity crowd, more than 25,000 fans on hand to watch 671 cars go at it.
Hello once again, everyone. I'm Bob Barsha. After a short midsummer break, the stars of the IHRA are back in action. And what a place to come back to. On the shores of Lake Erie, beautiful Norwalk Raceway Park is one of the most user-friendly motorsports facilities in the world. But don't take my word for it. Here's ESPN drag racing analyst Ted Jones with proof.
One look around at this magnificent facility will tell you just why it's sold out every year. Track operator Bill Mader spares no expense to give everyone the greatest creature comforts. Look at the creative landscaping and you'll see why it's called Park. Take a look inside this VIP tower that has the latest state-of-the-art theater-style armchair seating complete with wet bars. On the roof of the tower, bleacher seating for special NRP guests. And for the racer, a new 200-foot concrete launching pad and the latest computer timing systems. Over 5,000 additional seats have been added, and it's still a sold-out event. And the man with the best seat in the entire house is our own Brett Kepner.
Well, there's no question that Norwalk Raceway Park is probably the most beautiful on the IHRA Tour, but there are a couple of different things here at this year's Loctite Tostiasti Spumani World Nationals that make things completely different. First is the weather. It's not nearly the oven that it usually is here at the World Nationals this time of year. And the second is the racetrack itself. A brand new coating of asphalt and the longest concrete pads we've seen this season in IHRA drag racing. And it works. We'll see coverage of the Chevrolet Night of Fire qualifying sessions in just a minute, but keep this in mind. In Pro Stock Eliminator, it took a run of 7.263 seconds just to qualify for the 16-car field, and in Pro Modified, who would have believed it? 7.088 seconds was the slowest run in the 16-car field, and all but two of them were in the sixes. It's that kind of racing that should make eliminations one incredible show here at Norwalk. Back to you, gentlemen.
All right, thanks a lot, Brett. Here are the numbers on the weather. 85 degrees, fairly humid at 68%, but a breeze blowing right in the racers' faces and very little chance of rain. A huge crowd on hand for the finals, but they got a real treat on Saturday night. The final round of qualifying, the Chevrolet Night of Fire here at Norwalk. At every stop on the trail, the Night of Fire produces quick times, and such was the case in Top Fuel. Eddie Hill against Wayne Bailey.
Well, Eddie the Thrill gave the crowd a thrill. He locked up the #1 qualifying position on this run of 5:13, 272 miles per hour. What a reaction from the crowd.
And we also found our top qualifier in Pro Stock, Doug Kirk, in contention for the World Championship.
Young Doug locked up the #1 qualifying position, too, and he turned in a sensational 7.11, 193 miles per hour.
But perhaps the best of all, in the near lane, in Pro Modified, defending world champion Tim McAmis having a lackluster season, but here he chomps down on the #1 qualifying spot, leading the quickest field in Pro Modified history.
Also a brand new world record with a 6.85. McAmis really served notice to the rest of the field.
Who knows? Maybe it was the full moon. In eliminations, we'll find out. Our ESPN coverage of the World Nationals is brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is one top motor oil. And by Goodies, the South's #1 headache powder. We'll be back with the slingshots of 5,000 horsepower Top Fuel when we return to Norwalk. Welcome back to Norwalk Raceway Park in Norwalk, Ohio. We are ready for quarterfinal action in Top Fuel Dragster. Our first matchup will be a former champion against a former Rookie of the Year. There you see Wayne Bailey out of Lake Orion, Michigan, the defending champion here at the World Nationals. He'll be up against this man, Pat Dakin, the 1989 Top Fuel IHRA World Champion.
Well, and Dakin's knocking right on the door as we speak, Bob, because he's only 100 points behind point leader Gene Snow, so he needs this round bad.
There is Wayne Bailey. 1990 Top Fuel Rookie of the Year, wearing those special light-sensitive sunglasses that have become all the trend in Top Fuel. Good lead for both cars, but now Bailey gets sideways as he smokes the tires.
Bailey actually crossed the line, giving Dakin the win with a 5.50. We'll look one more time and watch Bailey in the near lane as he comes off the end of that pad and both tires start spinning. He'll get sideways across the line and then very wisely shuts it down.
But it's a clean run for Dakin, who will move on to the semifinals. One more look at those Goodyear slicks eating up racetrack. Brand new 200-foot concrete pad here at Norwalk. Lots of traction, and that traction needs to be understood and handled. Our next matchup will pit Fred Farndon from Columbus, Ohio. He'll be the big crowd favorite in that yellow 300-inch dragster. He'll be up against this man, Kenny Bernstein from Orange, California. Fred Farndon really has his work cut out for him.
King Kenny is number 3 in the points, and he hasn't run every IHRA event. That's quite an accomplishment for the Budweiser team.
He qualified number 3 behind Eddie Hill and Gene Snow. Farndon, the number 6 qualifier. Both cars away cleanly, but Bernstein gets the traction, pulls out about a half a car length, and extends it to the finish.
Bernstein moves into the semifinals with a 5.27 at only 258, which means either he lifted early or the car laid down on top end.
Notice those black wings on either side of the driving slicks. Kenny Bernstein working with a special aerodynamic package. There's a look at Farndon's launch, and look how quickly Kenny Bernstein motors away from him.
That ground effects package on that car might account for that low top speed. It could actually be dragging him back a little bit.
Now here is Eddie the Thrill Hill, the first man to break 5 seconds in a quarter-mile run. Racing the car he did it in back in 1988. Here's his opponent, John Carey, who's a story in himself. We'll get back to that in just a moment. Right now, let's get down to the top end and Brett Kepner.
I have to admit, it takes sheer guts to make a radical decision like putting aerodynamics on the car after qualifying is complete, but it seemed to work. The heat is there, you know that. 527 seemed pretty impressive.
Well, it's awful hot out, like you said, Brett. It's tough, but we still blistered the tires. We're just trying to make it glue it down. The racetrack, the first 400 feet is excellent, and then it just gets loose. It just needs cars on it. It's green.
Is it the conversion from the concrete to the asphalt that's the problem, or just the asphalt?
Well, I think it's just curing, just the asphalt and curing, exactly. It just needs more rubber on it, more powerful cars on it, and it's just going to take some time. It's smooth and everything. It just doesn't have much bite out there.
Talk about powerful race cars. These machines now making close to 5,000 horsepower. Now there's Diesel John Carey from Dover, Delaware, coming back for the first time after suffering a near-fatal electrical shock in his shop back in Delaware. He's up against Eddie the Thrill Hill, running the car that took him to fame and fortune in 1988 as the first man under 5 seconds. Diesel John hazes the hides, and Eddie has a clean run.
That's all Eddie needed, a 5.34, 250 miles per hour. So the number 1 qualifier will march on.
A closer look now at Diesel John Carey to the left of your screen, comes off that concrete pad, gets the transition to the asphalt that Kenny Bernstein talked about, and the tires just could not hold the power. Now here is Maurice DuPont from Palmdale, California. Not one of your average household names in Top Fuel, but he's going up against one, 2-time IHRA World Champion Gene Snow. Snowman coming in on a roll. He's got a couple of race victories this year, and he is the leader in points toward a possible 3rd world championship. Right now, let's get down to Brett with the thrill.
534 at 267. You obviously weren't going to give John any slack.
Well, no, I was trying not to. I was trying to win that one.
The tires don't look blistered. Everybody that's come down so far has spun somewhere in the mid-range, but did you feel the motor go away down there?
I knew it wasn't right, but I don't know what was happening. I mean, I didn't know whether we were slipping tires a little or whether we just missed a tune-up.
What did you and Fuzzy expect out of this track with the heat?
Well, we knew we were going to lose some. We were hoping for something down in the mid-20s, but
It may have been there if the motor had lit.
yeah, maybe next time.
We'll see you in the pit.
All right, thanks.
Fuzzy Carter turns the wrenches for Eddie the Thrill Hill. Gene Snow has a pretty fair crew chief himself, and defending Top Fuel World Champion Michael Brotherton. Now, Maurice DuPont appears to have a problem at the line.
Well, it looks like he has a flat tire, and yes, DuPont's getting out of the car. That's Larry Frazier's car, and what a tough break, because he has a brand new sponsor this weekend. You saw the name on the side of the car. That's right, that car is now sponsored by MC Hammer.
MC Hammer, the rap star. Joining the list of luminaries sponsoring dragsters, it will be a bye run for Gene Snow, but he's got his foot in it.
Wow, 5.21, 263. Mr. Snow serves notice.
By virtue of the quicker ET, Pat Dakin will have lane choice over Eddie Hill in the semifinals. Eddie Bernstein with lane choice against the Snowman. We'll take a quick timeout and go from glow